And over the years, I have evolved into an educator and a researcher in the field of health effects of violence and abuse. I'm sorry that the Representative Slaughter is not here, because I actually got my training in Rochester, New York, which is her area. So my very first day as a pediatric resident at Strong Memorial Hospital in Rochester, New York, I was assigned to the emergency room. And that morning, I was stacked to the ER. We had a little boy, 2 years old, not breathing and barely a heartbeat. This little boy was blue from head to toe from bruising, and I could not revive him. So I've been a practicing pediatrician for more than 20 years. Of the many children with serious injuries that I have taken care of due to a caregiver's abuse, each is seared in my memory. What was not in my training was the enormous burden of disease that each child carries with them throughout their entire lifespan. The dynamics of violence and abuse within the family and the enormous healthcare cost to society. So that kind of led me to do this work for the last 15 years. The next thing that happened to me was that my next door neighbor was violently beaten by her husband. And at that point in time when I met her, I realized my lack of training in intimate partner violence. She had sought care at our local hospital and they had reported the violent beating to law enforcement. The police had come next door, I saw them come in, and I went over to find out what was happening. The police officer took away the husband in handcuffs. And I said to him, I said, do you know there are 2 little boys? And the 2 little boys were hiding, like children do. Luckily, my neighbor, she took the 2 boys and went to a hotel and really was safe at that time. She was able to negotiate her safety. My neighbor's name is Melody, and I will never forget what it is her life turned out to be because of somebody's abuse towards her and the children. So the past 15 years, I have been teaching about violence and abuse, child abuse, intimate partner violence to health professionals, physicians, medical students, nurses, first responders, dental students. Many of these students have related their own experience with child abuse or partner abuse. Universally, they have thanked me for the short time we have spent discussing the health consequences of violence and abuse. This knowledge needs to be part of every health professional's education and training for better patient care. The research that we do have consistently shows a direct correlation between childhood experience of abuse, such as child neglect, emotional abuse, physical, sexual abuse, parental partner abuse, parental mental illness, and substance abuse that leads to chronic, long-term health problems throughout the person's lifespan. So we need to integrate this knowledge and elevate the research priorities to seek better interventions and public health approaches. And you have heard from these folks here how they're doing this on a daily basis. And we really appreciate the work that you're doing. Most healthcare professionals, whether they are physician, nurse, dentist, pharmacist, social worker, psychologist, family therapist, physical, occupational therapist, public health, behavioral health, they have not been educated. So by expanding health education and research, we will integrate knowledge about violence and abuse into the training of all health professionals. We will promote the health of all people, protect the most vulnerable, and advance health and social policy that promotes safe families, workplaces, and communities. This is our vision of the Academy on Violence and Abuse. I would also like to bring your attention to the great work that the National Child Traumatic Stress Network has been doing. That was established by Congress. This was something that Congress did, a real investment with strong congressional support, commitment, and dedication that created. We are at the very cusp of using this knowledge. This program is really, the funds are being decreased dramatically. And I just want to urge you to continue supporting this. This critical time, this is all about trauma-informed care. How do you get this into the practice of all people? So before I end, I have a message from Dr. Robert Block, who is the current president of the Academy on Violence and Abuse, and he is the president-elect of the American Academy of Pediatrics. He couldn't be here today, but he asked me to relate to you that they're focusing on 2 new topics in their strategic plan, which is the ABCD, pediatrics, you know. Early brain and child development and epigenetics, fields that are yielding scientific advances about the health effects of violence and abuse. So as a member of the National Health Collaborative on Violence and Abuse, thank you so much.